video will show you how to create and configure Turnitin Dropboxes. To add a Turnitin Dropbox to any Angel course, go to the Lessons tab and click Add Content. Choose Turnitin Dropbox. By default, paper assignment is selected, so click Next Step. Give your assignment a title, and I suggest you include the words Turnitin Dropbox so that students recognize the Dropbox link in lessons. Give the assignment a point value. The start date is the first date that students can submit to this Dropbox. Before this start date and time, students cannot make submissions because the Dropbox is locked. Let's leave the start date as it is, but change the time to 1 a.m. The due date is your deadline. Students cannot make submissions past this due date and time unless you have configured optional settings to allow submissions after this due date. If you have not configured optional settings to allow submissions after this due date and time, the Dropbox will lock and students will not be able to make submissions past this due date and time. Let's leave the due date and time as they are. The post date is the first date that students can see graded assignments in this Dropbox. Before this post date and time, students cannot see graded assignments. However, they can see grades for the assignments that have posted to Angel's gradebook, unless you put a release date on the assignment in Angel's gradebook, and that release date should coincide with this post date if you don't want students to be able to see gradebook grades before they can see the graded essays in this Dropbox. Post date must follow start date. Normally, your post date will follow the start date by several days, which gives you sufficient time to get all of the essays graded so that some students can't see their grades before other students. For teaching purposes, however, I'm going to make this post date the same as the start date, but 1 hour later. Let's go to Optional Settings. Under Special Instructions, you can input short instructions for your students, and those instructions will display right under the Dropbox link in Lessons. Let's put the deadline in Special Instructions and make it the same as the due date that displays here. Under Allow Submissions After Due Date, you control whether students can submit assignments past your due date and time shown here. Selecting Yes allows them to make submissions past this due date and time. Selecting No locks the Dropbox and students cannot make submissions past this due date and time. Under Originality Report, most of these fields should be left at their default because they control how the Turnitin Dropbox generates the plagiarism report. Under Allow Students to See Originality Reports, selecting Yes allows them to see the plagiarism report created by the Turnitin Dropbox. Selecting No allows only you to see the plagiarism report, not your students. Under Grade Mark, you can choose to attach or create a rubric, and you'll have other opportunities in this Dropbox to attach and create rubrics, so let's skip this step for now. The ETS E-Rater is a grammar check that works like the grammar check in Microsoft Word. It actually places marks in the paper for you. I suggest you experiment with this ETS E-Rater to see if it's something you might want to use. Putting a check mark here saves and applies these settings to all future Turnitin Dropboxes that you create in this class. When you're finished configuring your Turnitin Dropbox, click Submit. Your Dropbox now displays in the Lessons tab, and notice the deadline underneath the Dropbox link, which appears here because you input it in the Special Instructions box while you were configuring this Turnitin Dropbox. We skipped one very important step that we always complete for Angel Dropboxes, discussion forums, and tests. If you look at the hyperlinks under this Angel Dropbox, they're the same as the hyperlinks under the Turnitin Dropbox. However, if we click the Settings hyperlink under this Angel Dropbox, we see this familiar configuration screen, and when we created the Dropbox, in the Assignment tab, we completed this critical step where we connected this Angel Dropbox to Angel's gradebook. Let's cancel this. We have that same hyperlink under the Turnitin Dropbox. Let's click it, but we see a completely different screen. We never had the opportunity when we were creating the Turnitin Dropbox to connect the Dropbox to the gradebook. Let's return to Lessons. Turnitin Dropboxes create their own entry in Angel's gradebook. They do this automatically. You don't have to do a thing. Even though they both have the same hyperlinks, these two Dropboxes work very differently, and that's because a Turnitin Dropbox is not really an Angel component. It's a third-party vendor, and it works differently. Let's go to Angel's gradebook by clicking the Manage tab, Gradebook, and let's choose Categories. When I configured this gradebook, I created these 4 categories. I did not, however, create the 5th Uncategorized Category. When I created the Turnitin Dropbox a few minutes ago, the Dropbox created this category and put itself in the category. Let's take a look at this category by putting a check mark next to it. Show Tasks, View Assignments. There's the Turnitin Dropbox. Let's return to Categories. Notice that this uncategorized category created by the Turnitin Dropbox is not weighted. That means as the grades for assignments in this Dropbox post to Angel's gradebook, they won't count toward the student's course average because they're in a category that isn't weighted. Anytime you add a Turnitin Dropbox to a course that has a percentage-based gradebook, you have to come into the gradebook and make some adjustments. There are 2 ways to handle this. Number 1, you can weight this category, and if you do, I would also suggest changing the name so that the name that displays in the gradebook is a logical name to you and your students. If you weight this category, you must then change the weights of one or more of the other categories in order to maintain this total of 100. Your other option is to remove the Turnitin Dropbox from Uncategorized and place it in another category. Because I already have the 4 categories that I need for this class and they're perfectly weighted at 100, let's move the Turnitin Dropbox out of Uncategorized. To do that, we return to Gradebook's main menu and go to Assignments. There's the Turnitin Dropbox in the Uncategorized category. Let's put a check mark next to it and click Edit Selected. Next to Category, choose another category into which you want this Dropbox moved. Click the arrow and let's choose Essays. The Turnitin Dropbox will now be moved to the Essays category. While you're in this assignment editor, you can choose a release date that coincides with your post date in the Dropbox so that students will see the grade in Angel's gradebook at the same time they see the graded essay in the Dropbox. When you're finished configuring the assignment editor, save the new category and the release date if you have chosen one by clicking Save. Now you can see that the Dropbox is in the Essays category. Let's return to Gradebook's main menu, Categories, and let's make sure the Turnitin Dropbox is in the Essays category before we delete the Uncategorized category. If we delete the Uncategorized category and that Dropbox is still in it, we can never reestablish the Dropbox's connection to Angel's gradebook the way we can with a test, an Angel Dropbox, or a discussion forum. Once you delete the Dropbox's connection to Angel's Gradebook, it is gone forever, and you have only two choices. You can either manually post all the grades for the assignments in this Dropbox to Angel's Gradebook, or you can delete the Turnitin Dropbox and create a new one. Let's go to Essays to make sure the Dropbox is there. Put a check mark next to Essays, Show Tasks, View Assignments, and there's the Dropbox. Let's return to Categories, and we can now delete Uncategorized by putting a check mark next to it and clicking Delete Selected. Let's return to Lessons. To work with the Turnitin Dropbox, in other words, to grade papers in it, to make changes to it, or to work with grade marks and rubrics, you don't click the hyperlinks that you click with an Angel Dropbox. You will probably never use these hyperlinks with a Turnitin Dropbox. You click the Dropbox link itself. You're routed to this screen with these 5 tabs. We're currently in the assignment inbox, which is where you view, grade, and delete submitted assignments. Under Author, your students' names will appear as they make submissions. If they have not made a submission, you will not see their name under Author the way you see students' names here in this Dropbox. If you want to see their names appear the way they appear here, whether or not they have made a submission, you click Roster Sync, and the Turnitin Dropbox syncs its roster with the Angel roster, and all of your student names will appear whether or not they have made a submission. The next tab is the Edit Assignment tab that allows you to make changes to the Dropbox. It displays the same screen that this hyperlink displays. Let's click the Edit Assignment tab, and you can now make changes to your Dropbox if you want to. The next tab is the Libraries tab, and this is where you control the Quick Mark Manager and the Rubric Manager. The Quick Mark Manager is currently displaying. Let's scroll down so you can see the whole window. And the Quick Mark Manager has 3 columns: Sets on the left, Marks in the middle, and on the right is a column that displays additional information based on your selections in the Sets and Marks columns. A set is a group of marks, and you can drag those marks into the paper as you grade. To see the marks in a set, you click the set to highlight it, and the marks will display in the middle column, like this. Notice that some of the sets have locks next to them and some don't. Sets with locks next to them are provided by the Turnitin Dropbox, and they cannot be altered or deleted. A set with a lock next to it displays marks that have locks next to them, and those marks cannot be edited or deleted. A set with no lock next to it, like error codes, is a set that you create, and you can edit or delete the set and edit or delete any of the marks. To add a whole new set of your own, you click the plus sign next to Sets. You give your set a name, and you save your set. And the set research now displays under Sets and shows that it has no marks in it. To delete a set, first make sure there is no lock next to the set. You cannot delete a set that has a lock next to it. Click the set to highlight it, then click Delete Set. Be very careful when you delete a set, because the Turnitin Dropbox will not give you a warning. It simply deletes the set like this. Syntax is now gone, and all of its marks are gone too. To change the name of a set, first make sure the set is not locked, and then click the set, and then click Rename. We don't want to rename this set, so I'm going to click out of it. You can add marks to any set, locked or unlocked, and there are two ways to add marks to any set. First, highlight the set to which you want to add a mark. Let's highlight Research since it has no marks in it yet. The first way to add marks is to create the mark from scratch. To do that, you click the plus sign next to Marks. You give your mark a title and a description. When you're finished, you save your mark. And you can see that Research now has one mark in it that we just created. The second way to add marks to a set is to copy them from other sets. You can copy a mark from any set, locked or unlocked, into any set, locked or unlocked. To copy a mark into Research, we click the set in which the mark exists. Let's choose error codes. Then we click the mark that we want to copy. We click Actions. We click Add to Set, and then we choose the set into which we want to copy this mark. Let's choose Research. And you can see that Research now has two marks in it. To edit a mark, first make sure that the set in which the mark exists is an unlocked set. Let's choose Error Codes. Then you choose the mark that you want to edit by clicking it. Then you click Edit, and you can now change the title or the description for this mark. Let's cancel this. To delete a mark, first make sure the mark is in an unlocked set, and then you click the set. Error Codes is already clicked, and you click the mark that you want to delete. You click Actions, Other, Remove from this set. We don't want to remove this mark, so I'm going to click out of it. Let's go to the Rubric Manager. Scroll down so we can see the entire window. Like the Quick Mark Manager, the Rubric Manager has many pre-configured rubrics provided by the Turnitin Dropbox. To see any rubric in the Rubric Manager, click this button. Under Common Core are the rubrics provided by the Turnitin Dropbox. Those rubrics cannot be changed in any way. Under Rubrics are all of the rubrics that you have created, and those rubrics can be changed, but only before you use them to grade an essay. After you have used a rubric to grade an essay, it can never be changed. If you want to make changes to one of your own rubrics that has already been used to grade an essay, or to one of the Turnitin Dropbox's rubrics, you have to duplicate the rubric, and then you can make changes to the duplicate. Let's click out of this. To duplicate a rubric because you want to change it, you click this button. You choose the rubric that you want to duplicate. Let's choose one of my own rubrics. And notice that we're told this rubric cannot be edited. That's because I've already used this rubric to grade an essay, so if I want to make changes to it, I have to duplicate it. I click this button again, and I click Duplicate this rubric, and I can then make whatever changes I want to the duplicate. If you want to create a brand new rubric, you click this button and choose Create New Rubric, and your rubric window opens. The first thing you do is choose what kind of rubric you want to create down here. Then you give your rubric a name, and then you complete these scale fields and criterion fields. To add criteria or to add a scale, you click these plus signs. In this Libraries tab, Rubric Manager, you can look at rubrics, create duplicates, but you cannot attach a rubric to this Dropbox. You'll learn how to attach a rubric to this Dropbox when we learn how to grade papers. Let's take a look at how students use Turnitin Dropboxes. To make a submission, a student clicks the Dropbox link, and he's routed to his class homepage where he can see every Turnitin Dropbox in your class. In this case, there's only one. To submit to this Dropbox, the student has to be looking at the Dropbox after the start date and before a locked due date. If he's within those dates, this submit button will be blue and he'll be able to click it and start the submission process. If he is outside these dates, the submit button will be ghosted and he won't be able to make a submission. If you attached a rubric to this assignment in the Special Options menu, the student can click this rubric icon under Info and see the rubric on which you will base his grade for this assignment. He clicks the icon and the rubric opens. The student clicks the submit button when he's ready. If you require your students to submit a paper in a particular format, the student must choose single file upload here. If he chooses cut and paste, the formatting will not display in the paper. His first and last names automatically appear here. He gives his submission a title. You should encourage your students to read the instructions that will appear at each step of the upload process. The student now clicks Browse to locate his paper on his computer, and then he clicks Upload. At step 2 of 3, he sees a preview of his paper. The formatting of that paper will not display in this window. The purpose of this window is simply to give students an opportunity to make sure they have selected the correct paper for upload. He scrolls down, and if this is the correct paper, he clicks Submit. This is the final step in the upload process. This is called the student's digital receipt. This receipt is mailed to his email address in the Turnitin Dropbox, but you should encourage your students to also print this digital receipt because this is their proof that they submitted their essay to the Dropbox. From here, the student can click out of the paper, go elsewhere in Angel, or he can click Go to Portfolio to return to his class homepage. Let's go to the class homepage by clicking Go to Portfolio. And the student now sees the ghosted Submit button. Students can submit only once to a Turnitin Dropbox. If you want to give students an opportunity to submit an assignment more than once, you have to delete the current submission and then let the student know that he can submit again. And I'll show you how to delete submissions when we talk about how to grade papers. Once students begin submitting papers, you can begin grading those papers by clicking the Dropbox link in Lessons, and you're routed to your assignment inbox. You can see that one paper has been submitted. In the similarity column, you see the plagiarism icon. If you click it, you'll see the complete plagiarism report. In the grade column, you see a pencil. If you click it, you can grade mark this paper. Clicking either of these icons brings you to the same screen in which you can toggle back and forth between the plagiarism report and grade mark. Let's click the plagiarism icon. Expand this screen. On the left-hand side of the page is the student's paper. Plagiarized portions of the paper are color-coded and numbered, and they're matched to the original source, which displays on the right-hand side of the screen. Clicking this arrow next to the original source displays to whom the original paper was submitted. The left-hand side of the screen displays the text of the original paper. Let's click out of this. In this case, the entire paper was plagiarized from one source. If you toggle back and forth between originality and grade mark, you can grade the paper in grade mark, and notice on the right-hand side of the screen, the quick mark set loads, and you can toggle back to the originality report to see the plagiarism report. Let's go to grade mark. If you want to see plagiarized portions of this paper while you're in grade mark, you simply click this little button next to originality. And now the paper is highlighted for you to show plagiarized portions, but the right-hand side of the screen continues to display the quick mark set. To change the quick mark set, you can click this button and choose another set, and its marks load for you in this column. You can also click this wrench to open the Quick Marks Manager to choose, modify, or add a set. There are 3 ways to grade a paper in a Turnitin Dropbox. First, let's deselect this button so the paper is no longer color-coded. The first way to grade papers is to click and drag marks from the Quick Mark set into the paper, like this. To see what these marks mean, you hover over them. While you're hovering, you have the option to delete the mark or to edit the mark. To edit a mark, you don't actually change the mark, you add comments to the mark. If you want to move a mark in a paper, you click it and drag it wherever you want it to go. The second way to grade papers in a Turnitin Dropbox is to use bubble comments. First, make sure this button is selected, and then inside the paper, click where you want the bubble comment to go. If we want the comment to go at the end of this paragraph, we click and the bubble comment opens. We keyboard our comment and we save it. Again, if you hover over it, you can see the comment and you have the option to edit or delete the comment. You can also highlight portions of the paper before adding a bubble comment. Place your cursor where you want to begin highlighting and then drag. Next, click Comment. Your comment bubble opens, and you can change the color of that highlighting if you want to by clicking these buttons. And you keyboard your comment here. Save your comment. And again, you can click and drag to move the comment. By hovering over the comment, you can edit or delete. The third way to grade papers in a Turnitin Dropbox is to use inline comments. First, make sure this text button is selected, and then click in the paper where you want the inline comment to appear. If we want it to appear over this sentence, we would click and then keyboard our comment. To make the comment more visible, we can click and drag. And again, if we hover over it, we have the option to delete this comment. By clicking inside the comment box, we can edit the comment. To make general comments about the paper as a whole, click this second button. To make a voice comment, you click here. To make a text comment, you click here. Let's make a text comment. And remember, these comments do not appear in the paper itself, only in this column. When you're finished with your comment, you click Save. The third button shows a list of all comments made in the paper, and the fourth button allows you to attach a rubric to this assignment if you did not attach one in the Special Options menu. To create, modify, or attach a rubric, you click this wrench. The Rubric Manager opens, and you click this button to choose a rubric to attach, or you can click Create New Rubric to create a rubric for this assignment. Let's choose this rubric. It is loaded in the rubric window, but it's not yet attached to the assignment. It is simply displaying. If you want to attach this rubric, you click this button. and the rubric loads on the right-hand side of the screen. You close the manager, and you can now grade this essay using this rubric simply by clicking the appropriate blocks. When you're finished, you scroll down. You can see the rubric score, and to make this score appear here as the student's grade, you click Apply Rubric Percentage to Grade, and the grade appears. You can also manually enter a grade in this field. When you're finished grading the paper, you can move to the next paper or the previous paper by clicking these arrows. When you're finished, you click out of the paper, and if you refresh your screen, you'll be able to see the grade that was just assigned to this paper. Return to Lessons, Dropbox link, and there's the grade that was assigned. In the response column, notice that there's a dot. That means the student has not yet reviewed his graded essay. Once he reviews it, you'll see a different icon there. Let's go to Angel's Gradebook by clicking Manage, Gradebook, View All Grades. And you can see that the grade for that Turnitin Dropbox automatically posted to Angel's Gradebook. Let's take a look at what students do when they want to review a graded essay. They click the Dropbox link. They know the essay has been graded because the View button is blue. If the essay had not been graded, the View button would be dark gray. If they click a blue View button, they can review their graded essay. Additionally, if they hover over the View button, they're told, view the feedback left for this paper. That means the paper is graded. Students click the blue View button, and the graded essay loads. To see what these marks mean, they hover over them. If they scroll down, they can see your inline comments. In the right-hand column, they can see your general comments. If they click the middle button down here, they see a list of all comments made in this essay. And if they click the third button, they can see the rubric that you used to grade this essay. To see the rubric grid, they click here, and the rubric grid loads. When they're finished reviewing their paper, they click out of it altogether, and they're returned to their class homepage. Let's take a look at what the instructor sees after students review a graded paper. The instructor clicks the Turnitin Dropbox link, is routed to the assignment inbox, and in the response column, he no longer sees a dot. He sees a different icon. That tells him the paper has been reviewed by the student. If he hovers over that icon, he can see when the student reviewed the paper. To delete a paper so that a student can upload the paper again, the instructor simply puts a check mark next to the student's name in the assignment inbox and clicks this delete button. Once you delete a paper, you can't get it back, so make sure you want to delete it.